Ladies and gentlemen, youth ministry fans everywhere, it is time for another episode of Truth Bombs with the Saints. Today's saint is Saint Maria Goretti. We will have people come in and out. Look, Isaiah just reappeared. It's magical. That's what Truth Bombs is. Truth Bomb is magical. So today we have with us, Andrea, I never remember your title because it's like a fluid.
Keeps changing. I do evangelization and catechesis at the Archdiocese.
Yes, she does. So that's very exciting. Isaiah, who's in the bottom corner there, he is one of our seminarians. Where are you living right now, Isaiah? I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm at St. William's Parish.
You're in St. William's in Price Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, you could go to Price Hill Chili all the time. That's exciting. Or the Incline, you're right there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Have you been down to the Incline yet? I mean, you got to do this.
I have, I think a couple times, but I don't know where it is. Out there somewhere.
It's up the hill.
It's up the hill.
Do you remember when we drove through Price Hill that one time and you said, I'd love to be assigned down here because I like the drama?
There you go. There you go.
Oh, no, I don't remember that, but I could see myself saying that.
You and Max are driving.
Now you have it on recording.
Now we have it on recording. So Isaiah, you start your internship, right, in August, correct?
Correct.
And you're going up to Rushiland.
Rushi.
Rushiland. It's very exciting. So it's good to have you here. We have Miss Katie Dell, former TOTUS person, youth minister at St. Jude's, but not the St. Jude's you all think of, St. Jude's down in Texas. Yep. But I just love that it's St. Jude's because, you know, Saint of the Impossible. Love it. So,
love it.
Yeah. And are you guys on lockdown or what did they do with you recently?
Yeah, so I'm actually back in the office. Welcome to my office, everybody. Last time you got to be in my apartment. But yeah, so we're back in the office. We can have masses now, so that's exciting. But gatherings are kind of still up to the priests, so we're not really having gatherings at our parish yet, but our diocese is slowly starting to open up. But we're actually the last diocese in Texas to open up. Everybody else has been open for a while.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, we have masses too. We just all got to be far apart from each other. So that's Yes, and I love the pictures online of all the different things people have tried to keep the, we just moved every chair in our church because we have chairs.
Yeah.
It was kind of a cool thing to be able to do. The only advantage to chairs, we can move it when we needed to social distance. So, well, Katie, it's always good to see your smiling face. And you made it, even though it's 1:30 there and 2:30 here. So you did good. Father David, how are you?
Doing well. Glad to be with everybody.
I love the podcast.
Oh yeah, Father Kyle Schnipple and myself, we do something. It's nothing more than two Bakian's kids talking about life.
But it's
I don't know if that helps or hinders, but it's nice to hear another voice in the midst of the COVID craziness. So.
Absolutely, and it has been a little crazy. Abigail Marie, my daughter, who is not TOTUSing this summer, but babysitting instead. It's always good to have you here. Hey, Kate, why don't you wave your hand so people know you're actually there too? My niece is in that room.
Are getting up. She's sitting very far away.
She's very far away. But if you hear a laugh, she is our laugh track today. There's Kate. And of course, we have Sarah. She's here in the office with me, which is awesome because I'm going to put her to work in just a little bit. Woohoo! That's what good volunteers are for. Okay, so you know how this works. You're going to get a question. You're going to have to answer it in regards, and as Abby Kohler said so beautifully the other day, the thing is you have to give a reason for your answer. That's what it's all about. That's what it's got to be a good reason or else it just doesn't seem to work. So Maria Goretti. Oh, before we do our questions, favorite things about Maria Goretti. You go first, Sarah.
Oh, geez, really?
Really?
Her ability to forgive such a horrific act. The story of Maria Goretti, if you don't know, she was about 11 or 12 years old and she was raped or attempted to be raped by a young man who was 18, 19 years old. And he ended up stabbing her in the process of that. And as that happened, she said to this young man, "I want you to be in heaven with me." And I mean, that just, wow, you know.
That's a wow.
I have a hard time, you know, forgiving somebody who just, you know, does something silly like that. Yeah, exactly. So to forgive someone who murdered you, essentially, before you go, it's a beautiful story. So
It is. It's a beautiful part of the story. Miss Andrea Patch, what is your attachment to Saint Maria Goretti, or do you have a favorite fact about her you'd like to share?
I think she's one of the youngest saints to be canonized.
Yeah.
So I think for me, a lot of times in my ministry, I've felt like I'm the youngest, or like was put in charge of big initiatives as a young person. And for a long time, I saw that as an obstacle instead of as a blessing. And so I think St. Maria Goretti really like helped teach me and like model for me that I didn't need to be ashamed of my age. Like, my age is a number, and that's like, I can't change that. That's a reality that can't just go up, you know? And now I'm like, man, I wish I was that young again. Every year I do Totus Tuus, I feel older and older as they say things, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Or I have to like pull aside one of my interns and be like, what's this app they're talking about? But I think just her strength in her youth and being able to just be who you are and accept who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very good insight, Miss Patch. Mrs. Patch, I guess. Yes.
I know.
Mrs. Patch. I know you've been married for a little while, so I guess I should say
8 years.
8 years. Wow.
8 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
I'm going to be 24 years.
Whoa.
24. I'm only 28, so I'm still not sure how that happened. So 24 years. Wow. I know, but 8. You're in the busy, crazy time. 3 kids.
Yeah.
Wait, we saw your little pregnant belly before. Very cute.
Yes. It's hard to miss these days, 7 months pregnant. I thought I was skinnier than I was the other day and totally knocked an entire coffee mug off of a table because I thought I could fit through the space, and I couldn't.
That's what happens, right? My mom said by the end of one pregnancy, I had a brother who was over 11 pounds. She could just set the dinner plate right on her belly because, you know.
I'm getting close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting close.
Yeah, Abby was my one. She's my biggest baby, so she was over 9 pounds. I could do that with her, which is fun. Fun to say because she's now officially my littlest baby. Okay, Isaiah. Maria Goretti, what does she mean to you? Or what's a favorite thing you know about her?
I like the fact that, so I'm going to play off what Andrea said. I'm the youngest of the triplets, so I've always felt the youngest in a lot of ways, even though I'm one of the oldest in my family. I still felt kind of young. So, for her to stand up for faith in Jesus at such a young age and is really powerful. And it's powerful to me because she did that, when she had maybe the least amount of formation, but it was just this raw, radical belief. And she was so on fire for the faith that she was willing to, sacrifice her body. And obviously she really had salvation of her soul at the forefront of her life. And that really guided the way that she saw life. And I can only imagine how she viewed and lived her life. So for me, I think she's a powerful witness, and I definitely want to become more like her in that way, to have that radical faith and to live the way of life that comes from that as well, especially being the youngest, where, as young as, I don't know, at least for me, I look to my older siblings and I'm like, oh, they know what they're doing, but, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So Yeah.
I was just going to say, as nearly the oldest person here, she's the oldest. But as nearly the oldest, we still don't know what we're doing.
But I guess, Isaiah, I think it's proof too, we do not need to know it all to love God.
No.
Right. And I think sometimes, for those of us who work for the church, we get wrapped up in we need to know more, know more, know more. That's not a bad thing, obviously, but we don't need to know it all in order to love God, which is awesome, because I surely do not know it all. Miss Katie Dell, what do you think about Maria Goretti? Is she a special saint for you?
I mean, I really enjoyed learning about her. I didn't, I kind of knew like the basics of her story, but preparing for this, like reading about her, I really enjoyed reading about her. Something that I really liked was there were like, you could tell that everything she did to please the Lord. So like even in like these moments of like complete fear of what was happening to her, she was like still like telling them like, this doesn't please God, like this won't get you to heaven, like what you're doing doesn't please the Lord, this isn't what God wants. And I think just like even in those moments of like fear, having the Lord so present before her and knowing like this does not please the Lord, like this is not good, this is not what God wants from you, what God wants for you, and to just be able to like so plain like boldly say that when this is happening to her, I just really loved kind of that fearlessness in the fearful situations.
Awesome. And absolutely. It is fun. It's always fun to read about them. I love to read about when they're canonized.
Yeah.
Why they canonize them or the proof behind the canonization. That always fascinates me too. I feel like you get a little insight into what they were really, truly like.
Yeah.
Okay. Father David Doseck. What you got about Maria Goretti?
That's providential that you said canonization, right? I went back and I read Pope Pius XII's homily at her canonization mass. And one of the things he drew into was Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 is about a woman of noble character. And so in there, I guess 2 lines that came out in the homily of Pius XII. She was brave and beautiful. And I think that's something that young men and women need to hear, that they need to be brave in living out virtue and beautiful in doing so. So attractive to everyone else. And that they have that beauty and they behold it. It's a mystery. And I just see that in the life and witness of St. Maria Goretti. Subsequent, Holy Fathers, Pope John Paul II, dedicated the World Youth Day at Toronto through the intercession of St. Maria Goretti, and still as a patron of youth. So, be brave and beautiful. I think those are a beautiful way to say Proverbs 31, a woman of noble character. Yeah, I went back to kind of history there and enjoyed it.
You did. Did you know, Father David, I found this out today, that her canonization was the first one done in open air at St. Peter's Square?
Open air because they had over 500,000 people. So they couldn't fit in the church. Imagine they can't fit in that church. It's huge. I mean, you could put probably 7 of our diocese cathedrals inside.
Oh, yeah.
If not more. But the reality, I don't want to steal the thunder from anybody else. So Abby, I'm sorry if this was your answer. Why is she so great? But it's the only canonization where a mother of the saint was present.
Yeah.
And how cool is that?
Fascinating. Yeah, like there's your girl.
There's your girl.
Being a saint.
And being a parent, fortunately, I've never had a child die, but being a parent, if you had a child die, and a child die in a tragic way, and obviously way before her time, to then witness this great and amazing, and just the following and what her short little life and how it influenced people and how they loved her so dearly is just had to be amazing as a mama.
Yeah.
Proud mama bear, I am sure. For sure. And there are pictures of her. Google it, you can find it. There are pictures of her, which is very, very awesome. Okay, Abigail, did he steal your thunder?
I mean, I was going to talk about another person who was at her canonization with.
Oh, good.
So, fun fact, the man who killed her was also at her canonization. And he had this massive conversion when he was in prison for what he did. because Maria Goretti actually appeared to him in a dream, and he was actually released early because he had such good behavior after Maria appeared to him in that dream. And then he immediately went to Maria's mother and said, "Will you forgive me?" And because of what Maria had done in forgiving him, her mom forgave him, and then they went to Mass together, and then they attended her canonization together. And he would always pray for her intercession and called her my little saint, which I think is really cool. That like her forgiveness then impacted all those other people all those years later.
And he became a lay brother.
Yeah.
Which is really, 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 really fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, you all talked about all the things I was going to talk about, so I'm very proud of all of you to be a teacher and have you all cover it all. But here's what struck me today. I have a favorite website I go to read about the saints, and it's some little Franciscan website. Now it pops up in my Google search, so I love it because I kind of stay away from Wikipedia. Not that it's all bad, but I kind of like sometimes other different takes of it. And when she made her first communion, this just makes me giggle, right before her death, because they were doing first communion a little bit older. She was one of the larger and somewhat backward members of her class. And I wrote in big capital letters, me. I was very tall and a little backward. I was very shy. I know it's hard to believe. Very shy, very quiet. In kindergarten, I had to go to remedial gym because I could not skip. So I just love, okay, Andrea Patch is giggling. I just love.
Has the skipping become easier after remedial gym?
He can't skip now. I've seen it.
Again, she likes to show off.
Together. I am able to skip. And that's actually a big deal. I found out when I was a mom. It's a whole developmental thing and the left, right, and all this other stuff. But I loved that, you know, I said, oh my gosh, Maria Goretti, I've always loved you. My middle name's Marie, so I've always had an affinity for St. Maria Goretti. The first saint project I did in 4th or 5th grade, I think, was on Maria Goretti. I did not understand what happened to her, but I still did the project on her. And the other thing that really, really surprised me, something I did not know, so I must not have done very good research in 4th or 5th grade, is that, so she was stabbed 11 times initially, and then she attempted to reach the door, and Alessandro stabbed her 3 more times, so 14 stab wounds. They took her to a hospital. Her surgery was without anesthesia. But there was a conversation between her and the surgeon, because the surgeon knew she wasn't going to live. He just knew. And so he said to her, Maria, think of me in paradise. And she goes, well, who knows which of us is going to be there first? And because she didn't understand that it was that horrific of a situation yet. And he said, you, Maria. And she replied, then I will gladly think of you. So every moment of her life was just pure and grace-filled and joy-filled. Even in that moment, she was cognizant to say, you know, I will think of you when I'm in heaven. So how cool is that? She's fantastic.
Can I say one thing maybe?
Yes.
Maybe the group can share in a little bit. I have never found such a saint that is so divisive when preaching. If you give the story of the saint and the horrific nature of what happened, and then, as Sarah said, the tremendous forgiveness and pathway forward for the sinner, for the sin even, and the virtue, I have found preaching on it to people, it to be totally, you know, what I say, encouraging for some, and yet at the same time, not the current way we do things, and totally different than the way the world would say we do this. And so, you know, every homily that I ever preach on her, I get emails, positive or negative. And I don't know what that's about. I just know that it's, when I preach about something like that and it provides such a visceral reaction from people, I think we're getting somewhere.
Yes.
You know, the example is getting somewhere, you know, because you can be like, well, St. Anthony, he helped me find my keys. We hear that story all the time. It still is a miracle, don't get me wrong, but it's something that we just kind of collectively know, versus Maria Goretti's story is so particular. I think it can draw people in, or it can say, whoa, and just challenges every notion. I just find that fascinating from her story.
Mhm.
I think it's so disturbing, you know, like it's so off-putting. And that kind of forgiveness is just not in our current culture. Like we want judgment, or we want justice versus forgiveness. And so I think it's hard for people to like wrap their minds around such a horrific crime and horrific death. Like that's just graphic and disturbing. But then to also like see our own woundedness and our own like hardness of heart and unwillingness to forgive others, that she lives so perfectly, of like being so open to forgive, and even like appearing to him in prison and like helping him to like carry on with his conversion. And like in our culture today, it's like, no, it's all about me. And if I'm not, you know, if I'm not feeling good about this, or if you've hurt me, why would I go out of my way to help you? So I think that's part of like the divisiveness of it.
Well, and I think it's also hard. Forgiveness, most people think means you forget what happened, and forgiveness is a constant choice. Just thinking in my own history, my divorce was not nice. Most people know I'm divorced, so I don't care to put this out here. My divorce was not nice. And it took a lot of time and healing to think through and give up that hardness of heart towards my ex-husband. And there are still days where something will come up and I'll be like, But then I have to make the choice of, I want to let that go because I don't want that in me, because that's not who I want to be. And a lot of people don't understand that. I've had many a high school student who will question something and be like, you know, you hate so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't hate anybody, because that's allowing them to control me. And I want to give that up. But I don't think our society lives that way. When you read all the comments when somebody's accused of something, just thinking of the most recent thing in the news, when somebody's accused of something and everybody's all of a sudden like vengeance on the person that's accused, and they're not even found guilty yet. And I just think that's such a societal thing, is we want that vengeance now, and it's not even justice, it's vengeance. And you know, it takes a lot to learn to love like Jesus did, and I by no means am perfect at it, but it is something that you have to strive for, and you have to make the choice for every day. So, and if people just aren't willing as a society to work for that. Individuals are, certainly, but just secular society in general, not willing to work for that. So,
someone I grew up with was killed by her boyfriend, and her parents forgave her attacker, her boyfriend, and it is a powerful, it still happens today, not very common, but to see it, witness it, and to know that that did not live in their head. I mean, they were able to forgive, and not that they moved on. That's not what it's about. It's not about moving on, but they didn't let that tragedy live on as a tragedy. They let it live on as a positive thing. So it's very cool to witness in real life, but I hope none of you have to ever witness it, because it's, yeah, like with Maria Goretti, her mom would rather have not witnessed it, but she had a chance to, and got to see the fruit of her labor as a mama bear, as I said, mama bear. Thanks for sharing, Sarah. Sierra, we love when Sierra's around. Okay, Andrea, are you ready? You get to go first.
That's the face I make every time.
Okay, Andrea, here we go. What would you buy Maria Goretti in a Secret Santa exchange?
Ooh. This is fun. I am absolutely horrible at gift giving, and it's my husband's primary love language. So I have like had to grow in this, because he like feels so loved when he receives or gives gifts and is so thoughtful about it. And I'm like, you like chocolate, right? So Maria Goretti, I'm gonna say like, I think she's just known for her purity. So like a really good book on purity, writings from like a church father on what it means to like be holy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Maybe like Soul of the Apostolate, or I mean that would be a more current book. So
But we don't count time or anything.
Right. And I need to find it like in Italian, so that
Yeah. I just totally, Andrea, I love that answer because you went holy, and in my mind I went a barrette. Because if she was awkward, she probably had hair issues. So I just went with.
Well, and I think she had like wavy hair too.
She
So maybe
did.
some like curl control.
Yeah. That's immediately where I went, which tells you the difference between Andrea and me. Okay, Isaiah, are you ready?
Ready. Let's go.
Finish this poem about Saint Maria Goretti. Roses are red, violets are blue.
Father Doseck is dying.
I was expecting like a little bit more. Okay.
Nope, roses are red, violets are blue.
Okay, this is for one of my young adults who listens to this in the car on the way to work, so she can't see all of your faces. Erica, if you could see them all or hear them all right now, they're all dying laughing right now. Yes. And the look on Isaiah's face is practically painful.
It's the most common look I see on Isaiah's face.
Oh gosh.
Andrea just sent you a little chat message to help you out.
Oh,
It
she
even
did.
rhymes. It even rhymes.
It
Izzy.
does. I saw it.
Roses are red, violets are blue.
Saint Maria Goretti, I love you. Let's just go with that. Just gonna go with that.
I was really
Thank you,
looking
Andrea.
forward to Isaiah's poetry.
Well, Isaiah, if you come up with anything else, you just interrupt and let us know, okay?
I'll let you
Okay.
take my next question, buddy.
Oh my gosh, I almost just said Catherine Dell. Katie, are you a Catherine? Kathleen?
I'm a Catherine. I think we talked about this last time.
Probably. My brain doesn't always work. Here's your question.
Okay.
If Saint Maria Goretti, if she was a kind of weather, what kind of weather would she be?
Oh, she'd be a peaceful day, 75 degrees out, some clouds in the sky, blue, like sunny and 75, just like what you want to be in every day, all the time.
Nice little breeze.
Yeah.
So Father Dave Sundberg, who Father Doseck knows pretty well, Father Dave Sundberg calls those days delicious.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Saint Maria Goretti would be a day that is delicious.
Yes. Yes.
I love how you jumped on it so fast. It'll be a beautiful day, blue sky. You were just ready. You were ready.
It's my favorite kind of day because
Yeah.
it's just so peaceful, and like you want to go hammocking and like go for a little adventure. So like in Texas, like I mean I know it gets hot in Ohio, but like it gets hot in Texas. Like we only have like a week of like sunny and 75. So it's like we have to like capitalize on it. And so for me, like it's my favorite week of the year, and like just getting to go out there, and it's just so nice out, because then after that you're only outside to get to your next indoor building. Like that's all you're outside for.
Carlos would find 75 and sunny to be cold. He'd probably be wearing his little hoodie with his hood
He
up.
would. But so, I mean, like, yeah, we're like all in like cardigans and stuff in 75, but it's just so nice out.
Amazing, amazing. Little side story, because I never have side stories. My dad just told me a story. He was in Texas for Army training. He ended up not going to Vietnam. He was in Texas the whole time. But he had to guard something, and he was standing on blacktop in Texas in the heat. The spit shine on the top of his shoes rolled off, and his feet, he had to stand still, were burning through the shoes. So
Yeah.
it's hot down in Texas.
So kind of funny. This is something one of my friends and I, a side story as well. You said that your dad almost had to go to Vietnam, correct? My dad did serve in Vietnam. So like our dads were in the military at the same time.
I guess that's possible.
Yep.
That is possible. Yeah, I know. But Katie, don't think it's that funny.
It's just funny because like one of my friends, her grandpa served in Vietnam, and she's the same age as me. And so we've just kind of been like giggling about that a lot recently. So you said that and it made me think about that.
Yeah, because that's Abby's grandpa that I was just talking about. So
yeah, and Abby's about my same age. Yeah.
Katie's just proving that you're only 28 years old. That's it, Becky.
Really am. Our dad served in the same, time at the same time frame.
Look it up, timeline.
It's so true. It's so
You're
true.
welcome.
Thank you. Okay, Father David.
Yeah.
How does Maria Goretti really spend her weekend?
Oh gosh. I would say most likely helping out her mother in the house and, taking care of the other children that were there because they were a very poor family.
Yes.
And she would step up and help out. That'd be it.
That'd be it. I don't see Maria Goretti like going and goofing off. It didn't sound like she was ever the goofer offer. She sounded like she stayed, helped, no begging.
Yeah. Or go to church and like pray. That was probably fun for her, was to go to church.
Yeah. Because she wasn't working.
Because she was backwards and kind of crazy. That's just what matters.
Yeah. Now you know so much about me too, because I'm a little backwards, a little crazy. Love it. That's great. Okay. Abby. What Disney character is she most like? You have a lot to pick from.
I'm thinking like Snow White or Cinderella. Like
Where I went.
did you see her like singing and whistling while she like sweeps the house and stuff?
That's exactly where I went, was the Cinderella or Snow White. Yeah, but
I don't know if it's birds or mice or anything, but
I know, but I do love the birds and the mice, so yeah, but I could see, but her hair would have been a lot wavier and bushier than Snow White and Cinderella, so. But yeah, that's exactly where I went. Snow White, Cinderella. Yeah. Great minds. We must be related or something.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
No.
Why, did you already read that question? Wait, we had these yesterday.
The advantage of sitting in the office with her, I can preview the question.
And I just got the hunk of questions we went through with Unipro Sarah the other day, so I'm like, we're not going to do those. That's no fun. We got to get to other ones, right? What would Maria Goretti's restaurant be called?
I feel like I always get the food-related questions. What would her restaurant be called? I don't know if I know what it would be called, but it would be simple.
I agree with that.
Like, I feel like she would have a restaurant that was like soups and breads. Like, so Panera. I'm just kidding.
We just call it Goretti instead.
Right. But I just feel like it would just be like soups, stews, breads, like stuff she could make on a fire, hearth at her home.
Be all homey.
Yeah. Just simple. So I don't really have a name called Goretti's. I don't have a name for it.
I like that. I like it a lot. Yeah, it would be. What'd you say, Abs?
We all spend way too much time with each other because Kate, is sitting in the corner of my room, and every time you guys say something, she said it like 5 seconds before you had. She had said like 5 seconds before Sarah had.
It's terrifying.
So that's why I keep laughing. It's kind of scary. She's really scared.
Okay, you're not just laughing because of a face Isaiah makes then.
Part of it too.
Okay, Andrea, if she could time travel, where do you think she would go?
She certainly would not move forward because that would scare and scandalize the crap out of her. So
she's not coming to 2020 is what you're saying? Okay.
Not 2020, no. Although she could teach us a lot. Yeah. I'm going to say she's going to go back to maybe like the 300s and like just watching the church grow. She's from Italy, so just like seeing how things are kind of moved and transitioned and be there at like the forefront of that.
Mm-hmm. I could see her try to find ancestors too,
I agree with Andrea. They called her the new Saint Agnes of Rome.
Oh.
She'd go back to Saint Agnes and be like, yeah, this is what's
Her besties.
Virginity for life and for Christ.
Yes.
The new Saint Agnes of Rome. I love that. I've never heard that, but I love the story of Saint Agnes too. So we were just talking about Agnes the other day.
Yep.
Abby's saying something. I know we were talking about Agnes the other day. Oh, it was because of Kate's class.
That's Kate's fake confirmation name because her actual one didn't have any information.
Yeah, so we used Agnes. That's why. Okay, so we had just read that story. Okay, awesome. Perfecto. I love the answers. But now I say it's your turn. What was St. Maria Goretti's nickname in school? A little backwards. What do you think her nickname was?
The first thing that comes to mind is like Belle from like Beauty and the Beast or whatever. She's like kind of just a little bit out there, misunderstood. Really has like pure soul. And really is a beautiful person, but no one really sees her for who she really is. And I'd say it would be Belle.
I like that, Belle. I was trying to think of a nickname I had when I was that age.
I mean, mine was Meeker Beaker, but
Meeker Beaker.
John Paul II mentioned on the 100th anniversary that her mother and family would call her Marietta.
Marietta.
Which is a town in Ohio, by the way. I don't know if it's named after her.
Probably not.
That would be a different discussion, I think.
Yeah, Marietta. I could see like little Marietta.
Yeah.
Little Belle, little Marietta. Well, she wasn't little. She's taller than everyone else, but maybe she added the little to kind of think that, I'm little.
Maybe the little is just to represent her humility. She made herself little.
There you go.
And Belle could be like something like you're like lacking a bell, or your bells are always ringing up there. I don't know.
That too. Yeah.
I don't know.
Took it in a whole new direction. There you go.
And if she's at the church, she's always where the bells are ringing, so I don't know.
And if she went to school with some who weren't Catholic, that would work very well. Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Work very well. Okay. Excellent answer, Isaiah. There you go. I know you struggled with the roses are red, violets are blue, but you made up for it in the long run. So very proud of you. And belated happy birthday again. Katie Dell. If she could take only one thing to a desert island, what would it be?
Her scripture.
Her scripture.
So she could always be near the word of God. Oh wait, hold on. She couldn't read.
That's okay.
But maybe she would just like hold it.
Knowing her, she'd just hold it. A little osmosis she could put on her head and maybe go
Exactly.
in.
But yeah, definitely something to remind her. Well, I guess she really probably doesn't need the reminder because she's just, that holy. But something to continue her relationship with God, scriptures, or if she had a devotion to some sort of prayer, whatever that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Something to help her continue to pray, even though she is deserted and has nobody with her. She has God with her, and she knows that.
And she knows that all too well.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful example. Awesome, Miss Dell.
Hey.
Gosh, I just love seeing your little face, Katie. It's always fun. We'll just have to keep doing these just so I can talk to you every couple of weeks or whatever. Here we go. Okay. Oh, Father David, we've rounded back around to another food question.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. If she were a kind of sauce, what kind of sauce would she be? And she is Italian, so
Yeah.
You got some sauces.
you got some sauces.
Lots of sauce. I would have to add, it'd be a sweet basil and pesto with a little bit of pecorino. That'd be great.
Oh, look at that.
That's awfully fancy. Are you
Yeah.
sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, it'd be perfect.
What's your
At least-
reasoning?
I would eat it. That's as simple as that. And I hope Marie Goretti would be there to enjoy it as well. But if not, maybe one day I'll see her.
Now, Father David, occasionally I give points on this, and I feel like that just deserved 5,000 points just to say, because I'd eat it. The points mean nothing. It's like, whose line is it anyway? They don't mean anything, except you can always say, I gave Father Kyle a lot of points one time, and he goes, good, I get to cash those in someday.
I have a secretary that gives me stickers, so that's very, very
Is it a secretary named Max Travis?
No, he doesn't give me any stickers. I give him more work. Though
You
he
pick
gives
up
me
ice cream, right?
Yeah, and ice cream. We get milkshakes. We do.
Yes, that's right. The tradition hasn't stopped. UDF, when you're at the seminary, wherever you are, you got to find a place for your milkshakes.
Listen, there's one thing the Lord God has created, and that's milk from cows. And it should be used in the most perfect form, which is ice cream.
Well, there you
I
go.
don't care about a gallon of milk. Give me a gallon of ice cream.
That's fantastic. Okay, what was the little thing at the end of pecorino? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
the pecorino.
I'd probably be allergic to it, but that's okay. You all can enjoy.
The only thing in my mind was Lydia Bastiach from PBS saying, like, inviting people to the table to eat in Italian. That's all I was thinking in my mind. That's pretty neat.
And Maria Goretti would be the same way, even at a young age. I
She'd
think.
probably look at me and be like, you've ate too much. You need to slow down.
Do you understand, Father David? We're poor. I'm taking the food away from you.
No ice
Stop
cream
eating.
here.
Go out to the field and work.
No ice cream here. Oh.
That would be. I think she would. Okay, excellent. Abby, you get the last question. Then maybe we'll do a fast question where everyone can answer. The same question everyone can answer. But here is your question. If St. Maria Goretti were an app on your phone, what app would she be?
Ooh. Hold on. I gotta look at my phone. Shush, Kate. Kate said it wouldn't be one with spiders on it. They've been sending me spider pictures all day because I'm really scared of spiders. That's amazing. I think she would probably be the Laudate prayer app, or like one of the ones where you could listen to prayers since she couldn't like really read. But Father David's suggestion was a dating app for chaste men. The opposite of Tinder.
The opposite of Tinder. The Catholic, the opposite of Tinder. Yes, I like that a whole lot. Yes. Maybe we should create this. We always come up with business ideas. The other day it was Junipero Sarah, and we decided they shouldn't be Lincoln logs. They should be Therasticks. He built anyway. So we could have a whole line of Catholic toys and apps and candles and all sorts of things. Okay, the last question I have is a question I added to the truth bombs because sometimes we have to add questions because, you gotta freshen it up a little bit. But my question for all of you is, if I gave her Play-Doh, what would she make? Sarah.
Start.
Father David said he's ready to go. Are you ready to go, Father David?
Yeah, I'm ready. She make the cross.
She made the cross. Okay, I like that. Katie, what you got? What would she make?
I think she would I think she would just do the thing where you kind of like go like this and see how long you can get it.
Oh, like the worm, and you just make it long. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes. She'd probably just throw it down and be like, back to the garden I go. But
she would use it in like when she's watching her little siblings. She'd be like, look at how cool this is. Look at how long I can make it.
Mm-hmm. See how long you can make it. How long it takes you. Keep yourself busy. Yeah, I like it. So we got a cross and the worm thing. That's what I always called it. Isaiah, what would she make out of Play-Doh?
I think she'd make a cup for like a beggar, to hold water and give it to the beggar. So.
Wow.
It's non-toxic.
It is non-toxic. You could technically eat it. So they could drink.
Thank God for that. You don't have to call poison control on that one when your kid eats it.
But unfortunately, Andrea, and my middle daughter, not Abby, thankfully, my middle daughter ate everything but Play-Doh. So poison control was my favorite place to call.
What did she eat now, Mrs. Albrinck?
I actually was asked that once. What did she eat now, Mrs. Albrinck? So yeah.
I called like 3 days in a row, and they started asking for my personal information and like my address and stuff, and I'm like, thanks, bye. Grab my husband's phone and started over. I think I'm on a watch list.
So Andrea,
Maria Goretti,
obviously you have experience with the Play-Doh. So
I do have experience with Play-Doh, but Maria Goretti was very like crafty and hands-on. So like she did a lot of sewing. So I could see her like making some like beautiful patterns and like just showing off kind of some artwork and like making like flowers or like a crocheted type pattern that would bring her littlest sister a lot of joy.
Oh, nice. I'd have to give her a lot of colors too for that. So okay, Abigail, I'm gonna let Sarah off the hook right now. Abby, what do you think she'd make?
I think she'd probably, this is what I used to do with Mandy and Ben when you make me watch them, is like throw things at them to entertain them so I didn't have to. So I feel like since she was the oldest, she would probably just give the Play-Doh to her younger siblings that she was supposed to watch, so then she could do what she wanted. So probably like sew or something.
Mm-hmm. Or like throw it outside and go find it. You want to play? Go find it. I was the oldest in the family, could totally tell. That's what I would have done. Sarah, Play-Doh. Maria Goretti, a heart. A heart. Oh, well, that's a beautiful way to end this. Oh, say Maria Goretti and a heart. Okay, so before we say goodbye to the kids, I found a great sentence about Maria Goretti that we can conclude with, and it says, in a complex world, her faith was simple. It is a privilege to be loved by God and to love him at any cost. So may we all desire and grow to be a little wee bit like Maria Goretti. So we love her. I mean, I love her. I think you all love her too. She's pretty awesome saint. So that's it for this episode. I guess we should wave and say goodbye. Goodbye, guys. We'll see you soon. We're praying for you. Check your emails. Lots of stuff coming up. We'll see you soon. Bye.